Hello, everyone. Welcome to the GLORIO Chat, the best anime podcast on the internet. Summer is over. It's dead. Even though it's 80 degrees here where I'm at, which is very weird for October. But certainly the summer season of anime is over. We're going to talk about that today, wrap that up. We've already got new shows pouring in this weekend as we normally record on Sundays. But yeah, I think we had some pretty solid lineup of shows we want to give our final thoughts on. I'm also just thinking, like, you know, normally in the past I've worried more about this. I feel like now the sense of urgency to cover the new shows quickly is not nearly as high as it's been in years past. I don't know if it's me or if that's how anime discourse has evolved over the years.
A little bit from column A, a little bit from column B, yeah. I suspect.
I feel like when we started, because we've outlived the anime blog era. We've outlived anime Twitter. That's dead. You know, back in those days, it was like everybody was talking about every episode as it came out, and I don't know if that's really happening that much anymore, or, you know, me just being a lot more disconnected from social media these days. But I don't know, man.
As somebody who still checks in on, yes, what the somehow still moving corpse of anime Twitter, it really does seem like the reality is it has mostly moved to, you know, either the most mainstream stuff, you know, people are just talking about whatever is the big shonen, or people have moved fully into agenda posting, just you know, which is the like the Zoomer evolution of power scaling arguments, I guess, is as far as I can interpret.
Okay. I've thought some random thing about this anime I was watching, and I need social media to know about it now, right?
Yeah, and it's in some ways the more things change, the more they stay the same. You know, back in the day, we were arguing, well, could fully QB possessed Naruto fight Goku, SSJ Goku, and now it's just evolved into, I don't know, yeah, like fucking could Gojo beat Are
you saying that the children need to learn about the Ray and Asuka wars?
I think it's in some ways, if I'm trying to be generous, it's just cyclical. Like there will always be a new generation of people arguing about either their favorite girl or their favorite strong shonen guy.
Yeah. Well, I guess now that we feel sufficiently old, let's talk about some anime.
That's my secret gel. I always feel old.
Yeah, exactly. Well, anyway, before we get into the actual discussion, let's introduce everybody. I'm Gel. I'm joined by Iro.
I'm still here. I'm not dead yet. I'm knee deep in Ivalice's succession crisis with Duke Larg on one end and Duke Tana on the other end.
I didn't realize you got really into Final Fantasy 14.
Yes, I've got my dual calculator set up and running.
Yes, does that still work?
Oh, baby, does it?
Okay, well, if anybody is not following, Iro is playing the latest Final Fantasy Tactics.
Yes, I'm playing Final Fantasy Tactics, the Ivalice Chronicles.
Yeah.
Gel, you say the latest Final Fantasy Tactics as
well, release.
The latest Final Fantasy Tactics is what? Final Fantasy Tactics Advance 2, I think.
Yes, I meant release. There have been many releases.
I kind of hope those games get ported to like Switch eventually. I feel like those games maybe deserve a modern reevaluation.
Oh, the DS games?
The advanced games were good.
Yeah, but I definitely remember a lot of like Tactics old heads being like, "That's not my Tactics." And
I still claim A2 in particular is a fantastic game, and I will take that over the original Advance. And anyone who disagrees can fight me. But
I know you did not say you would take it over the original game, however.
No.
Not willing to step past that boundary.
No, for the record, the original Final Fantasy Tactics is probably my favorite game of all time if you hold a gun to my head.
I feel like you've said that about like 6 or 7 different games over the years.
I mean,
no,
I think
Gel's actually been pretty consistent.
I've been consistent with the games. Yeah,
I would say Gel's the real signifier for Gel is like he really likes a thing when he's willing to put a figure of it on his desk. That's why next to his Yang Wen Li is a Ramza figure.
It's Ramza
because I actually bought the Ivalice Chronicles special edition box, which hilariously does not come with the game. I am part of the problem.
That's actually fairly common these days.
Yeah, I know, but I still refuse to accept that. But I bought it anyway, so I'm part of the problem. But yes, I have the. It came with a pretty decent quality, like I would say, good prize figure tier figure of Ramza. In addition to, I had his figure arts that I've now replaced on my desk. I've moved that somewhere else. But
are they both Chapter 1, Ramza? I think the new one is, right?
Yeah, it's the Chapter 1. Like,
they're too afraid to make assless chaps, Ramza.
It's too powerful.
Yes, so I feel like I always liked that game, but I'm appreciating it more now that I'm in a post Legend of the Galactic Heroes viewing world. Where I can read in the Codex about the 50 Years War and how it left Ivalice in a precarious position of being broke and having a bunch of soldiers coming home and saying, "Where the fuck is our money?" And now I'm like,
many such cases in history.
Yes, and it's like, oh, now I can interpret this, and
I like how some people had their political awakening by reading like The Social Contract or Das Kapital or something, and you guys just talk about Legend of the Galactic Heroes.
Absolutely.
Everybody's different.
How Legend of the Galactic Heroes radicalized me. Essay by
Look, however it gets you to the final destination, right?
Indeed. Voice acting solid. I'll say the full VO is pretty good. I'm told they added some stuff. I've not seen too much added content yet. My understanding, go ahead. Yeah,
wild full top-down Fire Emblem camera.
Oh yeah, that's weird. That's not like a mode. That's like hold down the trigger to look at the map like that, and then let go of the trigger to return to normal. Like
wild. Yeah.
So I'm told I've not witnessed for myself because I only just recruited her, but I'm told they added a lot of dialogue with Agrias.
Yes. Fan favorite Agrias, who falls off the map after
once she joins the party and now must be treated as a generic unit.
Which pretty much, I mean, to be fair, that's pretty much any of the characters in that game. But yes, yeah. I want to play that someday, but I just really hate replaying games.
Mm-hmm.
Even it's my literal favorite video game I've ever played. I don't know, but someday I'll get there. All right, we're joined by G.
Well, since it would only be fair, so for this week's Uma Musume Minute, no, I'll just say as a preview for our next podcast, I've watched the first episode of season 2 of Cinderella Grey, and I'll just say Dicta Striker is my favorite.
Oh, she's moved up, huh? Okay.
She has a very good scene in episode 1.
I thought you liked Jungle Pocket.
Yes, Jungle Pocket is great too, but she's
Are we
not
just doing like
Cinderella
ad-libs words now?
Yeah.
Can I have
I definitely need to
cupcake or something?
I think that might be too many characters.
I definitely need to get to that. I gotta admit, I've kind of fallen off in the game already, if we're being honest.
Yeah, I mean, the reality is, the game, if we want to turn this into a bigger conversation, the weird disconnect of, the game is still that 2018 Japanese mobile game with all those 2018 Japanese mobile game sensibilities, your pre-Genshin approach to, game design and storytelling.
Yeah.
And all the Uma Musume anime, lives in the post FGO gacha anime adaptations are these insane high budget prestige productions.
Yeah, the game is look, all gacha is bad, but gacha was worse.
It totally was.
So like,
playing the Uma Musume game constantly reminds me of this.
Yes. So anyway, I'm still very much looking forward to the anime, though. I was thinking a lot about it in one of the episodes of City when they had the horse racing bit.
God, yeah.
Yeah, but we'll preview for later, right? All right. Well, we're also joined by Zig.
Hello.
Welcome, Zig.
In sympathy to your inability to replay video games, Jel, I've just finished playing Persona 3 for like the 7th time or something.
Okay, well,
like
at least that you played the latest remake, right? That's like a full-on, like completely new, redoing of that game.
Wavering hand,
or at least graphically, right?
Yes,
yes.
It looks very
presentation-wise and everything. Yeah.
Yes.
Even
but
I
it
was
sure is that game underneath.
Yeah, it's still the same underneath, I guess, huh?
Is it really Persona 3 if, like, Fuka is not saying, there are 3 enemies?
Mm-hmm. I need your help.
Yes. She is not cross-eyed anymore. It's very disappointing. But,
Jesus.
Well, anyway.
All the old memes.
Let's go from the most anime game series to talking about actual anime, I guess. There's my transition. So summer 2025 season is done. It's been done for a good week or so here. But like I said, I think this is a pretty solid lineup we had this season. I don't know if it was as good as last season. I have to go back and think about that. But hey, 2 good seasons in a row. I'll take it. And let's dive into it and start with detectives these days are crazy.
The season's designated Gel show.
This ended up being one of my dumb comedies that I'm caping up for, and it was all pretty good in the end. They saved the the best they could do for, like, how even comedies, they have to stir up some kind of drama for the last episode or 2, right? So the only like consistent plot line in this entire show is that the main guy is old, and by old he's like 35, and and he has no money. So
crazy.
Finally they're like, oh, you haven't been paying your rent, you're about to get kicked out. And so the last like episode and a half is like, you have 24 hours to come up with the money to pay your rent. And of course they like completely disregard just total time dilation, right, as they try to come up with all these schemes to make up money.
Isn't this just the plot of Mayonaka Punch again?
If you took that part of it and condensed it to an episode and a half, yes.
Sure.
Which is probably maybe all that deserved, but so yes, we got a very funny montage of different things they attempted to do, like just going to Ninja Warrior for prize money. They tried making merch, including some of the booby mouse pads, which went very wrong. Just random stuff that they kept doing, and like every time he would like go and ask the landlord for more time, and they're like, all right, you have 6 more hours. But then it would
will explode in 5 minutes.
Yeah. And so it all ends. They like finally get some like job to expose some like police corruption where the police were working with some criminal organization or something, and that all turns out to be a sham too. And like they still stay on like their weirdly like anti-cop messaging, which is interesting to me. And again, maybe me still reading a little too much into it, but they're like,
I mean, the fact you even can read that into it is kind of crazy.
Like like anytime the cops show up, they just beat people, and they're like, oh, the cops are kind of bad.
Wow.
So
shocking.
Like,
for Japan, that is a practically radical presentation of the cops.
Yeah, and I mean, it's such a silly show. None of it really matters in the end. To be honest, I watched it a while ago. I don't even remember how they came up with the money, but they figure it out eventually, and it's back to status quo. So nothing crazy with the ending, but I would expect no less. They did do the thing where like they do a montage of like different jobs that they do that I'm pretty sure were just like chapters in the manga that they didn't get to. So you'll get like
sure,
that's like a
fun.
cute little thing.
You'll get like one panning still frame of like some crazy job that they did, and just a shout out, I guess, people reading the manga or whatever. Very reminiscent of my favorite cult classic Bimbo Gami Ga.
I was gonna say, yeah,
well. But yeah, that's always fun. So yep, it turned out to be a pretty fun show. I don't know if I'm quite inducting it into the Gel Hall of Fame of wacky cult comedies that I'm gonna keep up for the rest of eternity. But it was fun. I enjoyed watching it every week. So all right, let's talk about Dandadan season 2, which, from what I understand, they have announced the season 3 at a time yet to be determined. But for now,
this train's got to keep rolling.
But for now, we have reached the end of season 2. And how are you guys feeling about it?
Pretty
Fine.
good, I'd say, especially compared to like where season 1 ended. I
right.
think,
what I would say, yes, what I'd say is like, unlike stopping in the middle of a thing like season 1 did, this feels like it could serve as a season conclusion. Right.
It really supports the like drum we've been banging this whole time that like Dandadan should have been like a continuous like 24 episodes, because I think the stopping point here feels much more natural. Basically, and funnily enough, despite that, it is still doing the same thing of it is kind of stopping in the middle of an arc, but it just finds a much like more natural way to do it. Like they the last few episodes of season 2, I don't need to set up the plot. They're fighting a kaiju. They're fighting a Godzilla, right? A big lizard who shoots laser beams. And it's like, oh no, but what can we do? We're tiny people. We can't beat a kaiju. And as we all know, the only thing that can beat a kaiju is another thing of similar size.
Yes,
like a giant robot.
It could also be an oxygen destroyer.
True, fair enough. But you know what? These high school kids don't have their hands on that, so they get their hands on the next best thing, which is a
big robot.
Is a giant Buddha mech with new Gundam fin funnels.
Yep.
So yeah, giant mech.
Yes. It is piloted by I guess broadly the newest addition to the like Dandadan circulation, Kinta, whose gimmick is being a big annoying nerd about mecha anime specifically.
So you're saying he's a self-insert, Jay?
Yes, exactly. The joke with Kinta is that he is simultaneously the worst and best character in Dandadan, because like he kind of fucking sucks, but like in a way that like is fairly charming and seems self-aware of like how much this type of nerd sucks.
I mean, that's kind of Okurun's thing as well, right? Like,
I think Okurun like
is way too like nice and charming.
Yeah, he doesn't
actually be like an otaku.
Yeah, I guess you're
like,
right.
Okurun
actually,
is an otaku, but like his like love for like his particular otaku obsession is like pure. It is like grounded in this like pure desire to like discover aliens. Like whereas Kinta is a mech fan who is obsessed with mechs and nerddom and like presentation of nerddom and
so
all
a
the
snob.
like. Yes, he's a snob. He's a gigantic mecha snob. Like, and he's great.
Not beating the rap here, G.
He carries an HG with him in his backpack at all times.
Yes.
He has Gundam shoes.
Okay, so
he sings Gundam songs to himself while walking to school.
On a scale of 1 to Birdie Wing, how high is the HG representation in this show?
Not as powerful.
It's
pretty
surface level. He builds a fake Gundam. It's not even like a fake Zagok or something.
It's a fake new Gundam, right? Like,
yes.
Boo.
But I say that, but I'll just say wait till like season 5, guys, and
but
maybe we'll see.
Bust out the Chuagu, like.
We'll see if they ever get to a hypothetical season 5 of Dandadan. But it's in all seriousness, it is a fun bit. It's fun in the big sort of dumb, lovable spectacle way Dandadan is good at when like it is not getting too quagmired in its like other half, which is the like trying to be real drama. When it's just like, yeah, how would a like who would win, Godzilla or the RX-93 new Bodhisattva? And it's fun and goofy, right? It's fun to see a giant Buddha statue like suplex Godzilla.
Yeah, I mean that's the kind of like dumb, kind of surface level cool stuff that I think Dandadan does really well, right? Kind of the gonzo spectacle that works really well in that show.
It trades well when on that initial premise of like, here's our Scooby gang fighting like ghosts and aliens, and it's a fun payoff on that stuff. And I think the characters, are charming and fun. Like they do lean into this idea that like, the gimmick of the robot fight is that it's a giant robot moving the way a giant robot does, and nobody can handle the G-forces of it other than Kinta, and the explanation being that he is so delusional about his mecha fandom that he has done bootleg at home G-force training his whole life, expecting to someday be called into the cockpit, and his delusions were validated on this fine day, on this one day of his life. But yeah, it's fun. The fight is goofy. It's well done. It's Side Saru doing their Side Saru thing, and it's still Dandadan because they beat the kaiju and it grows back to like normal size form.
It just returns to the size of the tokusatsu suit which they used for filming.
Yes.
Yeah, I was going to say, what is the normal size for a Godzilla? It's like building size, right?
Yeah. And gasp! There's a cute girl inside the suit.
Wow, what a shock!
That is how the season ends.
I'm sort of trepidatious about this development, not for any of the like normal reasons necessarily, but because I have every successive new character they've added, I've disliked more. So we'll have to see where it goes.
I kind of assumed that they would just roll with like 4 and that would be it for a while, but the fact that they just keep adding characters seems I don't know how to feel about it.
You told me that like it starts to become more of a rotating cast with the core 2 or 3, right?
Yeah, I think that the way Dandadan I think makes it work is there's sort of an acknowledgement that like there is the core crew of like Okarun and Momo, and then everybody else is sort of on a like rotating seat of like, oh, we're fighting ghosts this arc, we need the ghost guys, or oh no, we're fighting another kaiju, we need the one guy on the team who's good at fighting giant monsters.
So it basically just becomes Mission Impossible?
Sure, yeah, like kind of, right, of like we gotta call them in, and yes. So I think the cast, the expanding cast does continue to expand, and they are always kind of there, but I think they do a relatively good job of like never like trying to shove too many of them into the same storyline at once. Like I think Dandadan broadly comes up with pretty good like explanations for like,
okay,
oh well, like these characters couldn't make it this time, or they're over there, or they're indisposed of. And
Superman's stopping an earthquake in the Middle East or whatever.
Yeah, right, exactly. And so there's never more than like 4 or 5 like party members in focus during any given arc, and I think that's
the artificial RPG party limiter reason.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, that is reassuring because like it's a lot of shonen shows just grow incredibly bloated casts after a while, right? Like you think about Bleach, you think about Naruto, Fairy Tail, stuff like that. Like part of the problem becomes you have 1 billion characters and nobody can actually get any screen time. So hearing that they're fairly good at juggling their characters and like giving them shine in situations that would make sense, that's reassuring to hear at least.
Yeah.
Yeah, solid. Again, we are kind of left in this weird place of like, like hopefully Science Saru can keep the pace up, or hopefully their schedules will allow them to keep the pace up. I feel like Science Saru has become a very...
They got to work on Sanda this season.
Yeah, they've become a very busy studio, right? Like, there's Sanda this season. Ghost in the Shell is somewhere in 2026. Ostensibly, so is Dan Da Dan Season 3.
Yep. And that
so
other
is that Mongolian Witch
yeah.
Tale. Like, they have a... It's... Science Saru is adopting a disconcertingly Mappa-esque pace. And I think for those of us who have observed anime long enough to the point where we are able to follow the trials and tribulations of individual studios, I think you look at Science Saru and you can't help but notice those signs. And the thing is, like, I am into every anime they have announced or are working on. Like, I think they have actually taken on a really interesting slate of shows. I hope they can stay on top of it without. I mean, I know they're probably like burning human capital to do it because that's just anime, and I guess I can only hope it is still within acceptable boundaries and not, not becoming another Mappa situation, I guess.
I mean, the alternative is that they're outsourcing increasingly large amounts of the work, which is also not great, honestly, because
they probably are, honestly. Yeah. Like, as much as I like Dan Da Dan, the number of sequences that truly feel like Yuasa-era Science Saru, I don't know if that's because of, like, change in production, or if that's because Dan Da Dan is a more mainstream show, but, like, I think you get like one like really Science Saru feeling sequence maybe once every few episodes at this point, right? Like it still feels like Science Saru even, like the whole way through, but it feels like a very restrained Science Saru, right? Like it's more conventional in its appearance.
Yes.
Most of the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, how far are you going to go with like a Shonen Jump show? Like, I don't know, but yeah. Okay. Well, as far as Dan Da Dan goes, I'm glad to hear you guys seem to be in a much more positive headspace than we were at the end of season 1.
I'm much more. I'm more tolerant. I tolerate better the cliffhanger being, oh no, what if another girl steal my boyfriend than
right.
Than season 1's like, what if I'm molested in the bath? Like,
that seems like less of a I don't know, less of a cliffhanger, I guess, right?
Yeah,
like it's just introducing the next bit of story or whatever. So all right, well, let's move on and talk about Call of the Night season 2. If you recall, where did we leave off? Oh, he got shot. The kid got shot. Right?
Yes. Megane Colombo is enacting her revenge.
Yes.
Well, she failed
of the vampires. Like.
Yeah, she failed at that, and it in her attempt to end her life, she accidentally shoots the kid. Basically, is where we left off, right? So they don't. They don't spend too much time on him getting shot because obviously
I imagine that he's fine.
The question is, why didn't he die? Is he a vampire now? And I
bet the answer is no, because that's way too obvious, right?
Yeah, I feel like they kind of copped out on this a little bit because they're like. I'm torn because one part of me is saying it's kind of a cop out, and the other part of me is like, okay, well, it kind of they spin it in a way that kind of fits with the themes of what they're going for here, but I think it's probably more of a cop out where it was like nobody really knows why, but some of the theories were that perhaps he like was in the
middle stages,
intense emotions of the time period he started to turn, and they kind of spin it into like we all know the rules are that you turn into a vampire if you're bitten by a vampire that you've fallen in love with. That was established since episode 1, right?
But
one of the messages of this show is like, what does like what does it even mean to be in love with somebody? And that can mean a lot of different things, and that nobody really knows the answer of whether you're really in love with somebody or not, sometimes not even yourself. And they kind of, I think, intentionally leave it vague if I'm giving them a lot of leeway on this one. Where, and perhaps maybe if he hasn't fully sorted out his feelings for Nazuna yet, in the heat of the moment when the pressure was on, that it was there, that he does love her in some way, right? So they kind of leave it at that and kind of get back to, I guess, wrapping up the Megane Colombo story, where now she has like no purpose and she has to reconcile with her old friend Nazuna. And so I think they do all of that stuff pretty good. They end up getting like drinks together, and it's like sort of a combination of, meeting up with an old friend you haven't seen in 10 years, and then you just kind of pick up where you left off, but also like a little bit of like, this is also more specific, but like, if you're still cool with your ex enough to where you would introduce your new partner to them. Because Megane Colombo at some point was in love with Nazuna,
right?
And so they do a good job of like acknowledging, like they literally say that going out for a drink in 24 hours later, she's not going to fix all of her trauma and problems and her suicidal feelings and everything within 24 hours or 48 hours or whatever, and it's going to take her time to get back to finding some other purpose other than wanting to kill all vampires, right? So but it it's a nice sort of, I guess, epilogue and tying a bow on her story that she's able to kind of
right. You have your
conflict.
If your ending be the first step towards the good outcome, right?
So they make sure they're like not saying, okay, she's all fixed now, right? Which a lot of shows typically do with that.
I mean, what's the betting that she'll show up as kind of like emergency reinforcements for the final battle or something like that, right? Like,
yeah, well, right away,
100%.
Yes.
Right away, the reason why they ended up talking to her in the first place was because they were trying to figure out what happened with the kid. And the other thing is, like, nobody really knows, not even the vampires fully all know all the rules of how vampires work. They're just going on what people have like said. Like, obviously nobody has like studied this or anything. Like,
I mean, there are so many rules about vampires
in this universe, right? So where presumably people don't know what vampires are.
Frankly, if I was a vampire, I'd go nowhere near Japan because there's too much rice.
Wait, is rice an anti-vampire thing?
If you throw rice on the ground, they gotta count every single grain.
God, right? Yes, I'd completely forgotten.
Like in Sesame Street.
Yeah, they have so many weird. They have so many weird weaknesses, right? But yes, they figure the vampire hunter would know more about vampires than anybody, and that's kind of how that conversation starts up. But so that was all really nice. They also kind of give a victory lap with all the other characters, and it kind of ends with, when we first met the other vampires, they were kind of like intimidating and threatening to, kill everybody. And basically the main kid called their bluff and was like, you guys don't actually kill people. You're just trying to keep your secret safe and just like scare people. And they're like, yeah, they're all actually pretty cool people.
Now that we've all been through some shit together, we can kind of chill out, right?
Yeah. So now everybody is cool and everything. And, it ends with a couple of conversations as the main kid Ko is kind of reinforcing that he's doubling down on he's doing this vampire thing, because that's been a question. And,
right.
That kind of final, and I don't know if there's ever, I from what I understand, there's more content in the manga. I don't know if we'll ever get a season 3. So much like season 1, it felt like they're trying to tie enough of a bow on this in case they never get a season 3. So like,
I think that's probably a smart move, right?
So like thematically, they're kind of tying things up with a lot of people are like, oh well, if you be a vampire, you can't be normal ever again. And it's like, well, what is the normal? Is not a thing that exists. everybody's weird in some way.
They don't seem to be any...
also be like, you expect me to be normal again after all of the shit we've been through.
Yes, and also I think it's a little too late for that conversation, right?
There don't seem to be a huge number of downsides to being a vampire in this universe, honestly.
I mean, you do have to drink blood.
There don't seem to be a huge number of downsides to being a vampire in this universe, quite frankly.
If you don't keep to the sewers, you'll break the masquerade, and they'll kill you.
And you still can't...
That's Ninja Turtles, not vampires.
You still can't go out during the day, but maybe it's not a downside. I don't know.
You just have to go to the right places, right? Like,
yeah. But and so
that's
kind
more
of
vampires don't just like move to like Iceland for like or Greenland for like 6 months of the year
because it's daylight 6 months of the year.
Well, that's what I mean. So the other 6 months of the year,
then you go to the other, the other pole, right?
Have you seen the cost of international flights recently?
I think a vampire could handle it.
There are far fewer like places in the southern hemisphere that you can do the opposite with. Like,
you'd have to like literally go to Antarctica, right? Like
there's just
probably. Yeah.
I don't want to perpetuate ideas that the South is less developed or what have you, but just the realities of
land mass.
Yes, the realities of geography means there are less cities in the Arctic, in the polar circle. Yeah,
right. Well, I don't know how we got to that part. But, yes.
Vampire lore, yay!
Yes. So yes, Call of the Night ended up being shockingly good to me.
Yeah.
I knew, like I was very high on it coming out of season 1, but season 2 I felt like was like really cashed in on everything they built up in season 1, even with like the slight tone shift to like a more plot focused. Like it was definitely like a plot focused show. There was not a lot of like hanging out, doing whatever like in season 1, and they managed to pull it off. This particular writer is, like I think I said a couple of us ago, is just like a good writer. I hope they write more like actual stories and not just like chill hangout stuff. Apparently they're good at both, but I ended up really enjoying it. Might be my favorite show of the season. We'll talk about City later, right? But it's in that conversation for me.
All right.
Let's hope for a season 3, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of hoping for a season 3,
yeah,
let's talk
You're
about
10 years too soon.
Let's talk about New Panty and Stocking with Garterbelt. I didn't realize how literal the title was going to be.
Mm-hmm.
I groaned at that. Really.
My God, they've done it again.
Okay,
Trigger saved Christmas.
I was more excited for the new episode of Brief and Chuck.
Oh God. Yeah. So I think we can focus on the final like arc, which is the the final 3-part Heaven Wars or whatever they called it, where they took all the Star Wars prequel title names.
Yes.
Revenge
of
the Bitch.
Yes.
Yeah. What was it? It was like the Family Menace, Attack of the Uncle.
Yeah.
And yes, Revenge of the Bitch. At the end.
Perfect.
Which is clever because Star Wars otherwise has nothing to do with these final episodes.
Yes, otherwise,
case for many of these
unrelated
titles.
Yes.
He's like, Trigger's just fucking. There's like, I don't know. It would be funny to just do a poster riffing on that movie.
Oh man, alive.
I mean, I've said this before, but I think this season has really exposed that this show really is just Imaishi and the crew just pointing at Western properties and going, "Hey, do you know about this? Do you know about this? Do you know about this?" Really, not that that's a bad thing, but it definitely.
I mean, I don't think that's. I mean, I think there's definitely a lot of it. I don't think that is like. I don't think referential humor is like necessarily the core of the Panty and Stocking like humor. I think like
it's a little more incidental, but it's like there if you're looking for it.
Definitely, right? But I think there's a lot more just the again the sex, violence, and mock speed, right? The crass, irreverent like approach to storytelling, I think. And so the finale here, just for context, right? This was a 2-parter, right? They aired the last I guess they aired what would have been episode 12 and 13 together at the same time. You know, and I guess the kind of I guess you could say it's sort of sudden, quote unquote, out of nowhere, right? That like the driving drama of it is, Brief wants to finally confess to Panty, but Gunsmith tells him the only way he'll have a chance is if he confesses to her at the top of the Ferris wheel at Lingerie Land on Christmas Day,
or like New Year's or whatever,
or New Year's, right? Yeah. Which
you say that, but this has kind of been like a joke that they've kept coming back to across the whole of the show, honestly.
For sure, but I mean, if you like, I guess what I mean is, okay, here's the thing. I think if you are like someone who actually cares about the developing relationship of Brief and Panty, I think you probably signed up for the wrong show. But I know there are people who are like, but I do know that there are people who are like, wait, but like, what about the last episode of like season 1, like where like, you know, like they got together and it's like, yeah, but like, you know, it's in the style of
a lot
Western
of things
cartoon,
that happened
right?
in that episode that didn't.
Yes, you know, reset status quo, right? But and then how that ties into their sudden call back to heaven, right? And we finally see meet mom and dad here with their live action limbs. Yeah. Yes. And you know, the joke that heaven is just as much of a crass shithole as Earth.
Also, apparently, Panty and Stocking are the daughters of the ruler of heaven, which is just something that's kind of
I think that was already established, right?
Really?
That they are literally the children of God.
It was a long time ago.
They did mention that earlier in the season when they introduced Uncle Ramy, right?
Huh. Yeah. Okay, sure.
But yeah. It's very like a hedonistic Greek god sort of heaven, right?
Right.
But yeah.
I
feel like these episodes were like, I thought they were very entertaining. So I'm not saying this is a bad thing, but it was also kind of like, I don't know, nothing shocking by Panty and Stocking standards.
I mean, not even the shocking parts were shocking.
I think my feelings on the finale is that it's maybe like. You know, normally I'm the person who goes, "Oh hell yeah!" Like a 2-parter, we're gonna give the finale all the time it deserves. And I think my weird takeaway from the end of New Panty and Stocking with Garterbelt is I really like the payoff, but I think actually we didn't need that much setup for it.
Yeah.
Like, if that makes sense. Like, all this introduction of, this is how heaven is, and here are the mechanics of the heaven border crossing, and this is how heaven politics work. It's
I do want to point out one of my favourite little goofs from this episode, which is that the guards in heaven are Judge Dredd, but the guards in hell are Judge Death.
Or Judge Death, yeah, funny. It's so good. Like, look, if we're talking about referential humor, I love that personally. I'm like, perfect. Yeah.
I mean, that's
the moment I saw the border crossing guards in hell are Judge Death, I was like, okay, they completely understand the assignment.
Yeah. I think what this ending, like, and what honestly this entire season has taught me about my relationship with Panty and Stocking with Garterbelt, both the original series and this series, is that I enjoy it when they use it as a canvas for like weird one-off experiments, and I think I enjoy it less when it is actually about the characters Panty and Stocking. If that makes sense.
I think the first episode still endears me to this idea that Panty and Stocking is capable of big narrative or not narrative spectacle, but like is capable of like narratively, spectacle that is continuity focused.
Right. Broadly.
I think maybe where I land is like, again, I think the payoff, like I think the last 10 minutes of the last episode is like some of the most delightful television I've seen Trigger do in a while. I think the line, the F in fuck stands for family, is going to stay with me forever.
It was very good.
Thomas,
that was very good.
Like,
I'm honestly shocked that they did not throw in another Fast and Furious reference there, because it would have landed very well.
The whole ending feels like a Fast and Furious bit, right? Where suddenly out of nowhere we're doing the whole found family thing.
And also we're riding a car down and need to stop it.
The found family thing, I complained about that earlier, right? Like, I felt like it was like getting a little too sentimental, and I think I mostly came around on it in the end, because it was kind of fun having them, unapologetically team up at the end, right?
But they're still also we've set it up where they can team up unapologetically, but also they're still constantly shitting on each other all the time.
Right.
I mean, it got the amazing moment where the whole sequence starting with Scanty Knee Socks making it back up to heaven, and they play the remixed theme. And then we go through the whole medley of the amazing music to where finally the girls break out and they play Fly Away, and I'm like, hooting, hollering, jumping out of my chair, right?
Right. But, it hits. And I think it's just like maybe there's a world where we did not like. I don't think anybody here cares about the heaven lore or the world building. I think that stuff was not really needed, but
the thing is, Joe, like when you say you were jumping out of your chair and hooting and hollering, I was like, yeah, this is pretty fun. The show definitely wants me to be jumping out of my chair and hooting and hollering, but honestly, I thought the bit where Brief disguises himself as Chuck by wearing his skin was way funnier, quite frankly. I just, it's kind of the thing, right? Like, and again, I'm playing devil's advocate here to a certain bit, but like part of the joy of Panty and Stocking is that it is so shallow and freeform and malleable, but I think that creates problems when you try and cash in your emotional chips, with something like this ending there.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely see where you're coming from. I think for me, it actually does remind me a lot of because again, this is the part of the narrative framework that actually reminds me a ton of Western cartoons. Is like a ton of Western cartoons are like episodic one-offs until their season finale, when suddenly it's like Dexter's Lab, where suddenly the last episode of the season continuity matters now. And then next season, it's right back to status quo. I feel like Powerpuff Girls did that. I think a lot of Western cartoons did that, and that's kind of what I'm reminded of here. And I think for me personally, Panty and Stocking has just enough of a tangible thread in its characterization to hold on to that.
Sure, and
I personally think it's a good thing that Panty and Stocking has a little bit of this in its. I don't. Yeah. I do think for me the ratio is roughly right of I want roughly 3 to 4 episodes of any given season of Panty and Stocking to be kind of like this.
Panty and Stocking.
Kind of the Angel, the Demon Sisters / Angel, episode 6, right? Stuff like that. I think Panty and Stocking is well served by having those big moments to sort of serve as the
anchoring points
between the shit posting and dumbassery.
Yeah. Right, and I don't think we're too far apart on this. I think we're standing perhaps on opposite sides of a line, but very close to it in either case. Right, it's just for me. It's just for me when I think about the show, all of the most memorable bits are one-off jokes or scenarios or stuff like that, And I enjoyed this ending. I just don't think it necessarily landed in the way that the show really wanted it to land.
Sure, I think for me it does. Yeah. It definitely does. I pull it off.
That's kind of how I felt about the first season as well. So.
Right. I mean, that is the thing, right? Is the thing we all kind of come to realize is that Panty and Stocking is it's going to be an inconsistent show because the very nature of how it is constructed.
Yes, absolutely.
is inconsistent. Yeah. And I think how much that works on any given individual is going to vary from person to person. I mean, for me, it's I am the one hooting and hollering when the whole crew gives the final, oath monologue thing, right, as they are sending the giant middle finger fist gun into the asshole of the giant god statue to stop it from destroying hell.
I would like to point out that the plot the plot of this final episode is almost exactly the plot of Bayonetta, if you think about it. Sure. All the way down to the giant statue of God. So it's
sure. I do love. Oh god, I do love that the big heavenly weapon is just a slide to hell. Throw a statue down.
Basically just a bomb they're going to throw down a slide.
Just physics, basically.
Yeah, like I really thought, okay, this angel statue will train. Like, oh, it's gonna be a mech. He summoned a mech.
Yes.
He summoned a giant god statue, and it's not even a mech. It's just a statue.
I mean, they still fit the mech in, but different ways, different means.
Yeah, but yes. I feel like the big statue is going to be a mech was so obvious it was almost too obvious. If that makes sense, it's much funnier that it's just an inanimate object.
But yes, it's blowing it up with
down.
Physics, basically. Like because he throws the pebble down to show like
right.
So,
but yes. Also, shout outs to all the. So they've once again, they do a lot of the live action model exploding in these last 2 episodes, and I really love the introduction of the like even lower res, lower frame rate.
The incredibly shitty like phone camera.
Yeah, did you see like? Did you watch the making of video? Where, it's that way because they Imaishi literally decided like while filming, we need some more angles. Some of you give me your phones, right? So we can set them up at different angles.
It's so good, and I think I think there's anything to really say about Panty Stocking, right? Like I think, regardless of the quote unquote quality of the show.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's just it is one of those works where I think it is fun to watch because you can tell the people who are making it are also having a really good time.
Yes, absolutely. Like I did not love every beat of this season, but I did love the fact that like the Trigger crew are clearly having the time of their lives and are making something that fits their weird and abstract offbeat sense of humor, and occasionally those things lined up and gave us moments of like comic perfection and I am absolutely I'm absolutely fine with it not hitting all the time if those people are having fun and doing things that they think are interesting, because it even when I'm not necessarily into the segments, the enthusiasm is infectious.
I think that has always kind of been, in some ways, that is the Trigger vibe, right? Is like we're gonna do something really stupid and high energy, and it doesn't always hit, but if you let yourself get swept up in it, like the energy is so infectious that like I think you just can't help but like get swept up in it. I think
it's nice to get a show where it feels like they did exactly what they wanted without being told like you can't do that, right?
Yeah, there were definitely no boundaries on this one.
No, we will draw Panty's uncensored vagina at least like 6 times over the course of this entire season.
Statue's just gonna have a dick on it. Like,
yeah.
Panty's mother is just Ultraman because
with
apparently
the model legs,
right?
Yeah.
All right.
So how do you feel about? But how do you feel about the season 3 announcement?
It's going to be a real bummer that we're not going to see it for another 15 years.
I think we speculated about this, and I think I didn't go back and check the tape. I feel like most of us agreed they would probably pull that stunt again.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just the obvious way to end.
It's too obvious now, right? It's like, I mean, even the last episode being Christmas themed feels like Trigger knows about the Gainax ruined Christmas memes. Like, they're too self-aware in some ways. They know what people expect of them. I mean, my honest bet is like, I mean, so here's the thing, right? Like, if we want to actually be serious for half a moment here, Trigger has more ability to make a Panty and Stocking season 3 now than was ever possible back when they were at Gainax, right? Like in many ways, the season 2 joke was a joke because
it was never going to get a season 10.
Right. Well, not only that, but if you think about the timeline, Imaishi is like literally months away from leaving the building when he finishes Panty and Stocking. Like, he's probably already thinking of founding Trigger when he finishes Panty and Stocking. So that felt much more like a cheeky jab, right? But logistically, they own Panty and Stocking now. Like, other than Panty's VA retiring and them having to beg her to come out of retirement to play Panty.
And God bless, because she does an incredible job.
Oh, she's great. I mean, I know a lot of people have complained that Panty and Stocking season 2 feels like the Panty show featuring everybody else, but it feels like a great celebration of that VA's work. I think she she says fuck with the best of them.
It's very funny. It's always funny to hear a Japanese person say fuck in English.
But I do think logistically it is more possible for them to make a season 3. I don't know if they actually ever.
I think if they do, it is going to be at least a few years away. They need time to go away and
come up with new dick jokes.
Yes, yeah. And also, they have actual work to be getting on with.
New pop culture has to be made for them to riff on.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, I would say, I would not rule it out entirely, but I don't think it's imminent. I certainly don't think that this thing was like a huge breakout hit that demands another season instantly.
I think that will also sort of,
Yeah, I feel like Trigger probably doesn't know if they're making a season 3 right now.
Yeah.
Right? That's
they have left it as open-ended as possible.
I think it's definitely possible, but yes, I definitely don't. I mean, I'll put it this way. I think it's telling that most people correctly and understandably did not report. Because you know how usually when the last episode of a season has a stinger for the next season, and most of the anime news aggregators report, season 3 of Dawn to Dawn has been revealed.
Yes.
With Panty and Stocking, they were like, final episode of Panty and Stocking ends with see you next season, right?
Yes, and nobody is reporting on that because everybody correctly understands.
It's a joke.
Yes. Will season 3 actually open up with Panty and Brief being dragged to hell?
Right.
And needing to be rescued by their bastard children?
Yes, the junior and bastard with Stocking.
Yes.
I'm fairly confident that if they do season 3, they will pick up exactly from that cliffhanger because it's what they did this time.
Yes.
Again, don't hold your breath for it.
Yeah. Can't wait till that comes out when I'm pushing 60.
It's not
come on, Joe. They need more than 18 months to make a show.
They're more than 6 months. We're not getting this next year. Yeah.
God. I mean, you joke, but every interview or every behind the scenes they do of Panty and Stocking is just it is a Maishi. I think he's being self-effacing, but he's like, God, I'm old. Can I still do Panty and Stocking? I don't know.
Well, he actually is pushing 60, right? Yeah.
But at some point, you get old enough that swearing is funny again. Old dudes swearing is very funny.
I don't know if that ever stops being funny, to be honest. But
okay, so here's the more important question: when do we get new episodes of Impact Cop?
That depends on what Akira Amamiya is.
What they've put the legwork in here. They've seeded the idea that Impact Cop can continue carrying on the spirit of his predecessors, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. The burning justice.
Over justice found dead in New Orleans.
Yeah.
All depends on Amamiya's schedule, I think. It's just what is, as we said in the post-Dynazenon world, is, do we get Inferno Cop Amamiya or Gridman Amamiya?
Yeah.
When are they next year at Anime Expo?
One last shout out I want to give on Panty and Stocking. As we've discussed, I watched the dub.
Right.
Which we shout out to the Japanese VA. She does an excellent job. But I did watch the dub, and I feel like they went even way more off the script as the show went on, as far as localization.
Did you watch the dub of the first season where in some places it barely resembles the dialogue, right?
So the one that stood out to me, and I think usually for the better, particularly stuff like the boys, the new boys using a lot more Gen Z slang,
right?
But the one of them that stood out to me was in the final episodes when the boys show up and then you realize they've betrayed them and everything, and Panty's in the subs it says what circus let you guys out or something like that, and in the dub they localized it as what strip club is missing their morning shift right now.
Wow.
Yeah, that's
savage.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
I'm okay, yeah, I think I'm glad I watched the dub, but yes, shout out to everybody that worked on that because they did a great job. But
yeah, I think the last thing I'll just say about Panty Stocking real quick is if this actually is it for real for Panty and Stocking, they never come back to it. This is it, right? I think I I'm happy with where things wrapped up, right? I think, you know, like, goofy cliffhanger aside, like, the kind of schmaltzy, the F and fuck stands for family is, like, a thematically coherent enough, like, stopping point for, like, and you know, if you want to be like, and that's what Panty and Stocking's all about, I think that's fine. I will say, you know, if this also means that this is the end of, like, this particular era of Trigger, I think I will miss it. I think this was a great send-off. And why I say that, right, is because, you know, obviously I think Imaishi will always have a, like, a hand on the steering wheel of Trigger, but I think the thing that's, like, so fun about Panty and Stocking is, like, it's funny to, like, see this because, like, Trigger, you know, we just joked about, like, which Amamiya we get. Like, Amamiya made, like, fucking Gridman and Dynazenon. You know, you got Kai Igarashi directing the next Cyberpunk, right? Yoshinari did Little Witch Academia. It's like, it's so interesting to see how much Trigger has evolved as a creative, like, entity that, like, I don't think, like, the sex, violence, and mock speed will ever go away as long as Imaishi is there, but I also think, like, in many ways they have quote-unquote grown past this era of Trigger.
Yeah.
And
that'll continue to be, like, one element that they have, but it's not the only element they have. I do feel like when Trigger formed back in, you know, 2011 or whatever it was, like, in my brain I was thinking of it as the Imaishi studio, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And that's not really the
case
anymore.
Point.
Yeah. So
like I wrote about this in my Dynazenon, like, final thoughts post, is that they have proven that they are so much more they have so much more strength and depth than they used to, you know. So it is fun that we get to see all of that talent turned on something as vapid and stupid as
right. I mean, if there was one thing that was maybe my favorite part of this is we saw, like, all of the Trigger talent on this show at one point, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
It was all hands on deck,
including honorary Trigger member Kimiko Ueno, who once again proves that she is the GOAT at writing individual episodes of shows and should never be allowed to run one.
I mean, she was on at least 2 of the last 3 segments.
She was on many of the, like, main story episodes.
So, yeah, that aspect's very fun, and it is cool to see Trigger has such a deep roster now, right? So
yeah, good times.
Okay. Let's talk about Summer Hikaru died. I still regret not watching this, but I guess I ended up watching Uma Musume instead.
It was a worthy
very
sacrifice,
similar shows.
But I will once again, yes, we turn to Uma Desk reporter G for his report on the Summer Hikaru died, because nobody else watched this show.
I'm glad somebody here, G, has been able to carry the torch for this show. even if you're not, this is not usually your beat. You know, we got it here, but you did finish watching.
Now do it all in the style of the horse commentators.
Yes. Get your sports reporter. Like, you know, this queer horror romance thing, huh? There's something to it, isn't there, Chuck? But no. In all seriousness, I really do think, though, like, you know, it's only, at least for now, it's only 12 episodes, right? They have announced a season 2, but I do think this is one worth checking out before the year ends. I really think I think this show's, like, trying some, like, really cool things, and I'm just really impressed by it. Top to bottom. You know, I guess to give a brief summary of, like, what's going on and why we're getting a season 2. Is that despite my, like, speculation that, this is all kind of coming to a head, you know, I mean, again, literally Hikaru got beheaded last time we talked. Like, surely things are popping off. It kind of doesn't. It's like a weird anticlimax. Like, the dude beheads Hikaru basically to just, like, prove a point, I guess. Like, and then basically disappears for the rest of the season. Like, having, like, basically proven Hikaru's inhumanity, and I guess in his mind proving his incompatibility with, like, human civilization.
Sure.
Because, yeah, the remaining episodes are kind of the aftermath of that. Like, it's continuing, like, this kind of theme of, like, despite his best efforts, Hikaru really is, like, in many ways not compatible with conventional society. Like, he does not think the way they do. He does not feel emotions the way they do. He does not, or at least he claims he does not have empathy. He is incapable of, like, understanding, like, the emotions of other people. Like, his only way of connecting to other people is through understanding, well, Yoshiki would be sad if I killed you, so that's why I won't kill you, right?
So is this changing from a, like, queer parallel to a, like, a neurodivergent, like, parallel of, like, autism or sociopathy? Like,
the metaphors might be getting a little mixed here. There is maybe a little column A, column B. I think it is still mostly, like, the queer romance aspect, because there is still the idea of, like, trying to keep Hikaru's secret hidden from the world, right? Like, that he is... When we say is he incompatible, because a big aspect of that is, like, so Hikaru basically, they continue to unravel the mystery, right, of, like, the town and the curse. You know, that part is a little, like, it's not, it's not like an anticlimax. It's just kind of maybe along the lines of what you expect, where Hikaru's family, the Indos, are cursed because it turns out hundreds of years ago they made a deal with the devil, so to speak. They made a deal with a thing that is not quite a god, not quite a demon. It's the classic, like,
there's a Mongolian death worm down there. Like,
yes, exactly. Yeah. Basically,
I mean, like the idea of, like, a god and a demon is kind of more flexible in Shintoism / Buddhism, and
that's kind of what they're getting into here, right? Is, like, was this thing a kami, and did it become a yokai because of of the ways in which humanity interacted with it, right? It's kind of the classic, like, Faustian, a member of the Indo family hundreds of years ago made a deal to bring back his dead wife, and basically the deal was, I'll give you as many heads of anybody else if you bring my wife back to life. But of course, as Faustian bargains are wont to go, not only did a lot of people die, but the wife came back wrong. Yep. And so the Indo family is doomed to basically perform a ritual to appease this vengeful, like, revenant, generation to generation. And kind of what we got at before, which is that Hikaru's father potentially failed in some way in the ritual, and hence leading to all the supernatural going-ons in the town now, which kind of leads Hikaru to the conclusion that maybe I am just not fit for society. Maybe I need to return to the mountain. Like, I like Yoshiki. I like being here. I like being human, or whatever I am, but maybe it's the best for everybody if I return to my original role as, like, seal on the malice of the mountain. And so
I mean, like, that is very much a part of the greater queer sort of storytelling behind it all, right? Like, the idea that, actually, the monster thinks humanity is more monstrous than the place he was before. You know, the idea of being an outcast from society who can never fit in. You know, it's all in the multi-layered metaphor.
I think, like, where like the sort of, like, the queer analogs come in, it's less Hikaru is dismissive or finds humanity wanting, as much as it's more of a place of self-loathing, of he thinks, maybe I am just not worth being a part of society. And it all kind of culminates in this great moment where, again, writers who use subtext are cowards. Yoshiki is, like, has this great, and again, this is the same Yoshiki who, like, a few episodes ago, like, and told this Hikaru, you are not the Hikaru I, like, loved, and I don't have those feelings for you. Flash forward to here in this last episode, where he's basically giving this big speech about, like, I don't care who you are. I don't care how much society says that you don't fit in. I don't care, like, what perceived incompatibilities you think you have with the world that we live in. Like, what I care about is you, and, like, damn the society that deems that, like, you are not compatible with it, right? And it's a great heartfelt moment. It's a really excellent payoff. But it also does leave a lot of like the grander scheme, like narrative stuff unresolved. Like they still kind of haven't fully gotten to the, you know, they haven't like they've uncovered the surface, but there's still like many mysteries about like the nature of Hikaru that remain unresolved. Obviously, there's still the aspect of the town, or the Exorcist specifically is still looking for Hikaru. There's a bit in like the last episode that seems to imply that the Exorcist might actually be looking to recruit Hikaru more than exorcise him.
Have him join the Avengers.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit, yes. There's a little bit of a vibe of like, I'm recruiting you to the Sorcerers Association or something. That has me going, I hope this doesn't turn into a battle show. But there's a little bit of like, you know, he's making like vague phone calls to like garbled voices on the other end being like, he may be the one that we need. And it's like, all right, well, let's see where this goes. But regardless of where things go from here, I think this 12 episodes of television, really excellent. Like I was super impressed at how well The Summer Hikaru Died has handled like almost every like theme it has tackled here, you know, whether it is like the, you know, the small town, you know, the darkness in a small town, the like repressive nature of like small communities, you know, the queer identity, like, you know, metaphors. Like it's, I think it's done a really good job at basically all of them. And I think it's also remarkably well directed. I think like it's not a particularly like action heavy show, and so I think it can like just rely on a lot of really good shot composition. I think it's like a remarkably well shot anime, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Side Games Pictures still at it.
They sure are. That gotcha money is is doing them a lot of good. And yeah, I would definitely be, you know, excited for a second season. You know, whatever like minor like potential trepidations I may have, but I think. Are
you going to start reading the manga? Like,
I don't think so.
Okay.
I think I'm so enthralled by this adaptation. I am content to like see where it goes.
All right.
Cool. Yeah. I do want to get to that before the end of the year at some point. It's gonna be our top 10. I debate. I think it's gonna be brutal this year because there's
a lot of really good stuff.
Yes.
Yeah. There's a lot of good things. So you know, it's cool that they stuck the landing. You know, I obviously having not watched past the first episode, I can't talk. But gee, is there concern that maybe they get too much into the like logistics of what Hikaru is in season 2 compared to sticking with the more, I guess, emotional plot themes?
I think there is potentially some like it's only ever been hinted at the very edges of season 1, but there is like a little bit of implication of like. A little bit of a like Jujutsu Kaisen-esque, like there's a world of the supernatural beyond your small town, and kid, you're small potatoes in the grand scheme of things. But it's like it's very much at the edges, and I don't, and some of that could just be that's just how anime is written. Like characters are written to talk like that, but
yeah.
It's hard to completely shake the genre conventions, right?
Right. So I don't think season 2 is going to become a battle shonen in all seriousness. I just think there's bits and pieces on the edges that imply that, like, as the scope of the world expands, my fear would be that this show loses some of that, like, really important, like, core, you know? Like, I think, like, one of the, like, single, like, best moments in the last episode is, I feel bad. I always forget her name. The tomboyish girl, Asako. The one who's like supernaturally like sensitive. Like,
right.
She finally confronts Hikaru one-on-one in the final episode, where she's like, because up till this point she has known there's something up with Hikaru, but she has assumed. I think the story she has been fed is that Hikaru is possessed, not that this is like.
Right,
someone else entirely
wearing Hikaru's skin, and she confronts this Hikaru, and she's like, just be real with me. Like, what are you? Like, because you're not Hikaru. Like whatever you are. Like, I knew Hikaru. I grew up with him. Like, what are you? And this Hikaru comes clean, and she's like, well, where's the other Hikaru? And he's like, no, he's dead. Like, he is like actually straight up dead. And it's in some ways like she gets, or she doesn't. This is not a thing you should be happy to receive. She gets to speed run Yoshiki's entire arc about like, do you know how fucked up this is? Like,
right.
Like, I have to mourn my dead friend while the rest of the world pretends he's still alive. And she's like, is this what Yoshiki's been going through this whole time? Like has Yoshiki been mourning his dead friend while society moves on? Like, and she does kind of call him out. She's like, do you know how messed up that is? Like, you have denied us the ability to mourn a friend.
Right. Because that would be the healthy thing to do, right?
Yes, because you're here looking like him. We can't mourn him. Like, because you're here, because you have taken his place. And that's really messed up.
I mean,
at
that's
some
kind of
point,
fascinating.
At some level, mourning is like a collective
it is a collective
exorcism of
yes. Like it's why we hold funerals, right? It's so that we as a society can, or as a community, can come together to recognize the passing of a person. And like, Asuko correctly is like fairly indignant about this. I mean, she's also like really emotionally distraught, right? It's like, you know, like, I am looking at my friend and he is also dead at the same time. And this is a miserable place to be. And it's fucked up that Yoshiki has been here for 12 episodes straight.
Yeah. Do your head in.
And those are the moments where I think that the show shines the most, is like in those like small examinations of like grief and like personal conflict.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I just wanted to loop around on what you were saying about the really good direction of the show, G, is just to emphasize that I think the show does a tremendous job as well of conveying mood. Like there's a claustrophobia to it, a sort of sickliness to the entire experience of watching the show that does really amazing things for conveying sort of the tension and the difficulty of what's going on there. It's just a really good mood piece as well.
Oh, definitely, for sure.
Yeah. Okay, well, I guess we will wait to see when season 2 happens. And G, we know you'll be back on it.
I guess I will.
So, I'll definitely want to try to check that out before we get to our year-end stuff, which is coming a lot sooner than I want to think about. But it sounds like a good one. So,
for sure, yeah, it's definitely a contender, I think.
Cygames Pictures, man.
They're on a fucking tear, man.
Are they batting 1,000 in 2025 right now?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
what happens if in season 2 Hikaru develops a crippling addiction to Uma Musume? then G will be on it doubly. So
actually, that's a good. Does this show like take place like literally in 2025, or it feels old to me for some reason when I saw the first episode.
because it's small town Japan.
Yeah,
maybe that's why. Yeah,
that's where it gets tough, right? I mean,
like, would he be playing Grand Blue Fantasy on his phone?
I mean, they're fans of Hunter x Hunter or fake Hunter x Hunter.
Okay,
so
that's going back a while.
Maybe this is like 2012. I don't know.
Yeah. Hunter x Hunter technically still a going concern.
Yeah.
That's going back to the beginning days of the GLORIO blog.
Yes,
I mean, again, it is because the idea of a small town Japan evokes a specific time and place, right? And that
like
specific time and place is long ago and far away. So,
yeah. All right. Well, let's wrap things up by talking about City the Animation. We had our final stretch of episodes here.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like there were a couple clunkers in like the lead up to the final bits, but it ended pretty strong, I think.
Yeah, I think that's kind of how I feel as well.
I want to break it up into 3 parts, which I think end up being kind of the main, I guess, themes of the show. With there's like dozens of characters, but I think it boils down to 3 parts. One is the the three girls, right? So we've got Nagumo, Nikura, and Izumi. I should specify Wako Izumi, I guess, but
yes, which Izumi?
Yeah, so we kind of get. Weirdly enough, I thought they would be kind of the main focus, but they're kind of not in the final stretch.
They're kind of the cipher through which like you see the rest of City. If that makes sense.
Like they're, I guess, like I was thinking about like their kind of angle is you've got Nikura is the one who's like literally trying to like make something out of herself and like change things. And I felt like there was one moment that hit pretty hard. Well, maybe two moments that hit pretty hard for me in the final stretch to kind of sum up their plot line. There was the one where they're talking about starting their day or whatever, and like both Nagumo and Izumi are like, yeah, we just start having fun like all day every day. and Nikura's like, what?
Oh, of course.
I am fighting for my life out here. Because and then later on there's the bit where she punches that creature, I guess, for like 10 minutes straight.
Yeah.
And I thought that so perfectly summed up her like character.
Yes, if you want the encapsulation of that character in this story.
Yeah, because
no matter the show, no matter the medium, someone hitting somebody for way too long is always funny.
That was one of those things where it was like, okay, this is going on too long, but then it looped back around to being
funny again because
it's a Blake joke. It's the Sideshow Bob Blake joke.
Yes,
yeah.
So somebody needs to overlay the Metal Gear Rising UI.
Oh yeah.
Where Raiden is punching Senator Armstrong for 0 damage.
Yes.
But yes, that whole thing where because she's the one that wants to enter the photo contest. She's trying to make a YouTube channel happen. She's always chasing her locket that she never gets to. Whereas like you've got Nagumo, who's just naturally good at everything and life hands her everything, even though she's technically broke or whatever, right? She's always like winning somehow. And then Izumu, he's like just agent of chaos, right? So
right.
So interesting. They kind of put them off to the side for the final stretch for the other two parts. So we've got the So the two middle school girls, I can't remember their names off the top right now, but the one that's the girl that's
Matsuri and Eri, I think.
Yeah, Matsuri and I forget her nickname, right?
John,
but yes, and that finally comes to a head where, I thought we had tied a bow on that with the race because they're like, we're going to be able to visit each other, but no, they wanted to like get to the reality of them leaving, and I thought that was I love when these shows do add their kind of like heartfelt moments in there, right?
Yeah,
and even though it was still kind of funny and silly with the one kid facilitating
helping getting her to the airport
as well as the Izumi sisters being agents of chaos,
right? Yes, stop the plane.
I'm pretty sure they committed
sneezing too much, right? Yeah,
I'm pretty sure they committed several acts of terrorism in that episode, but that was all very sweet that they kind of tied the bow on that, and then the final thing has been kind of the Makabe family in general, but based on centered around their dad, and that being more of like the community sort of angle of the city coming together, right? And which leads to them basically ending on an extended musical number.
Yeah.
It was very funny, the concept of he thought that he got a Michelin star.
A Michelin star.
Yeah.
And it was literally just the cop guy mailed him a star because he liked the food.
Oh man!
But really, isn't that way more valuable than a Michelin star?
Yes.
The answer is no.
But everybody
comes together to.
Everybody comes together in the end as this big community. Because pretty much, other than the first segment is the girls kind of wrapping up their thing at the airport, but the rest of the final episode is entirely a musical number, right? Like becomes a musical. I thought that was pretty good. I don't know. I guess that's as good as place as any to end it.
I think it's a very charming sequence to end on. I think if in some weird ways, if we want to compare the two big comedies of this season, right? It's I think both are sort of trying in their own way of ending on what feels like an emotionally and thematically coherent bookend, right? City is also doing but the adventure goes on, right? It's what Nagumo says at the beginning of this episode, right? That that today was fun and tomorrow will be fun too, right? And that if we're talking about kind of the driving thesis, quote unquote, of City, right, is finding joy in the mundanities of life.
Right.
This big I think this big musical sequence kind of feels this is the big outsized version of that, right? This is how you get to end on a high note, right? You get to get everybody involved. You have an excuse to get everybody involved in the final sequence, right? A musical, like a race or a baseball episode, is an ensemble situation.
Yeah.
Yes.
They get to empty the tank animation wise.
Yeah. Oh my god. I mean, we've stopped gushing about KyoAni's approach to this adaptation because it's what are we supposed to say every week? It fucking looks amazing. But yes, it continues to look amazing. They continue to do all their weird hand-drawn tricks, just pure penmanship, right? No fancy VFX needed, right? Just it's just artistry at its finest. And I think
let's be fair, there has been some fancy VFX stuff as well, but
I guess what I mean is they're not relying heavily on a lot of post.
We're not putting a blur filter on. We're going to draw hatching to show that they're blurred.
Right. That's what I mean.
What you mean is that it's all substance and no flash, right?
Right. Well, I just think even a lot of good-looking anime that I think look good rely very heavily on post-effect processing these days, right? Yeah, blur filters or color filters and stuff. Whereas I think what I mean is more just the purity of City's artistry just continues.
It looks like everything was drawn by hand.
Right. Yeah.
Blow my mind.
Just wanted to emphasize that they are still using things like CGI camera pans and stuff like that. It's just that they have integrated them into the workflow so well.
But I think but also there's a little bit of a I think City is a show I respect a great deal and like a decent amount, and I think there's a little bit of City was the sensible chuckle comedy show of this season of that was good, or what a charming bit, or ha, that got a laugh out of me. And I don't I really did like this show, but there's something about it that prevents it from quite reaching the echelon of truly generational anime comedies for me, I think.
So here's the question I'm going to put out there, G, to I think further that question you're putting out. Answering a question with a question. Are you taking City over Nichijou?
Yes.
No.
I agree.
I don't think so. I think.
I mean, I feel like there's a clear demarcation here that City is quite a good show and Nichijou was a bad show.
Okay, yes.
You fucking chill out for 2 seconds. Look.
No, I refuse.
This is a fight we've been having since 2011.
Yes,
so
yes.
We understand.
Yeah,
you are not on the same page with this.
I know. I'm interested to hear your reasoning, Jay.
Yeah.
Well, here's the problem, right? It's been so long since I've watched Nichijou, so I don't know I can even confidently speak to it anymore. How much of my laughs at Nichijou are laughs from an unrecognizable person from 10 years ago, right? But I think...
I mean, the other thing I would say there as well is that for an older show, sort of the natural process of erosion has whittled an older show down into a handful of solid gold moments, right?
Right. Is this the same situation as when I look back on Panty and Stocking season 1, right? Is there a little bit of that happening? And so that's why I guess I say I take Nichijou over City, but it's I don't know if I say that confidently, right? I think it's Nichijou's highs I laughed at harder. I think Nichijou's sense of goofy spectacle landed better for me. I think even and like I don't want to take away from like City being in some ways the more low key, more like emotionally mature counterpart. I think that's like those are great qualities for City to have. I think it's just like in terms of like which was the more laugh out loud comedy for me. I think I preferred Nichijo's higher, more manic energy, but but you know, this is what we always say about comedy, right? Comedy is like maybe the most subjective genre, like out there. Like what makes you laugh is so deeply personal or specific.
And just as kind of like a counterpart is that, like, you know, like joking aside, you know, Nichijou is a good show. It is fine, you know, but I think that I preferred City's sort of like more low key, homely approach to comedy than Nichijou's sort of very wacky out there style, which is odd because I do normally like, you know, very goofy comedies. But to me, at least, I think City was more interesting to me because it was perhaps less obviously a comedy. Like it is clearly still a comedic show, but like it is perhaps a sort of lower key, more homely comedy, and I think that's why this landed for me in a way that Nichijou didn't. So, you know, we are making basically exactly the same observation from different ends of the spectrum, right?
Yeah. So I'll jump in here as somebody who watched Nichijou maybe 2 years ago is probably the most recent time I watched it. So it's still a little fresher in my memory, and also one of my favorite anime of all time. I know, G, you love it, but I don't know if you would make that statement. But
I don't know if it's quite up there, but yes, I do like Nichijou a fair
You do like
amount.
it, but I don't think I think I've always been consistently the biggest you know, Nichijou stan in the GLORIO chat, right? But so to me, there's a world where you could probably merge both of those shows together. They're close enough thematically and everything where you could probably make it work. So I don't feel like they're that far off. But I do think, and this is part of it is Nichijou was twice as long.
God, right.
Yeah. I forget that was a 2-course show.
Yeah, that was 26 episodes.
Back when the 2-course show actually existed.
Yeah.
Yes.
And what really, I think they have obviously they have a lot of the same strengths in terms of like technical quality and all that stuff. Yeah, and City looks better without question. I talked about that in a previous episode. It was like going back to see you know, Guilty Gear XR'd after seeing Strive, right?
Yeah.
But which is to say it still looks great, but come on, right? So you know, but you know, a lot of the same strengths that they have, and I think they're pretty close. I think one of the main differences between why I love these shows compared to what you guys are talking about is like, I don't care that it's not a laugh out loud comedy. Like, I feel like comedy is, you know, the main aspect, but I'm very much into slice of life, exploring the themes of celebrating everyday life stuff, right? I like that genre a lot, and I feel like these shows do that better than anybody, whether or not you're, you know, rolling on the floor laughing over it or not. Just finding weird little pockets of life to point out and celebrate is very entertaining to me. So, and in that regard, yeah, I mean, I agree. I probably laughed harder at that dumb detective show than City, right? In terms of like laughs, terms of laughs per minute, right? But or even Panty and Stocking, right? If we want to go put that in there. So I think with Nichijou, the other thing is like Nichijou takes a turn in the second half, which might be something that you forget as the years go by, but Nichijou goes more toward less laughs per minute and weird things happening, and more towards sort of the heartfelt, you know, building the, you know, playing onto the relationships of the characters, because that's when they merge the Nano and Professor into the three girls storyline.
Right, I do recall that. Yeah,
because they don't even meet in the first 12 episodes, right? And you know, culminating in one of my favorite episodes is episode 25, where you know Mio finally gets her heart broken, and you know the girls are there to support her, and it's like this great emotional moment. And they they kind of do that a little bit here. I think maybe they didn't. Maybe it is the time thing where we didn't have quite enough time. Like I thought the part with like the two girls saying goodbye was really good, but that was kind of I don't know, not nearly as developed as
is this a situation
25 episodes of
Yeah.
Bringing everybody together.
Right.
And
Like, is this a situation where because City is so much about a community as a whole, you actually don't get much time focused on any individual group in the way that you did with like the trio of girls and
it might be. Yeah, because in Nichijou, with all the things going on, they did eventually bring. You had a definite, like, if you told me who the main characters of City are, I don't know if I'd be able to answer that question fully.
I mean, kind of the point is that it has no main.
Right, and I don't necessarily think that's a bad choice on City's part, but I think because it is a different choice, right?
Yeah. Whereas Nichijou, very clearly the main characters are the three girls and and the professor, right? Like, that's very clear. So I don't know, and it's not like I don't think I'm just like. I don't think there's a huge gap there either, as far as like which one I think is better. Because, like I said, I think their City is clearly the spiritual successor to Nichijou.
It definitely is, yes.
And you could smash them together, and it would still make sense. So in a way, it's kind of all in the same kind of bucket. But I don't know. Part of me is still felt like Nichijou hit a little harder. Even like some of the way they handled some of the, like, there's some weird stuff that happened in Nichijou, but it wasn't like a lot of that was reserved for like the Helvetica standard.
Helvetica standard bits, yeah.
And the second half is when they started introducing like the like love segments and stuff like that, where they could play around with little, bit stories or whatever, which was a lot of fun. Whereas like City, I feel like some of the duds were actually like that they could have done a lot more with is like, there's like just mythical creatures running around the city, right?
But like, here's my counterpoint. Which one of these shows has a Tsuchinoko in
it? City?
Yeah. Yeah. Therefore, it's the better show.
I was trying to remember if one shows up in.
I was trying to remember. I was like, I feel like I don't know.
It's not beyond the possibility.
It's not beyond the possibility. Nichijou has a Tsuchinoko somewhere in one frame in the background, and we just never noticed. But
so
no, I think City is it's a very charming show. It is the I would show this to my like not anime watching relative or friend show, right?
Yes.
Like it's such a
you could show this to anybody. You could show it to an 8-year-old kid and they would find it entertaining. Like it's definitely got a mass appeal to it. It's but yeah, so I think ultimately, G, like what you said, I think there is just something missing from making it like really get there on my all-time great list or whatever, but it's certainly not to take away from how good it is, though. Like, I definitely enjoyed watching it, and just strictly from a technical standpoint, this is it's an all-timer from the technical standpoint.
Oh yeah, like this is like this is one of the new bars to hit in like fidelity, visuals, art direction, animation, whatever like metric you want to use for best looking anime, but
especially for a TV length anime, like this is
it is heartwarming in a way, to know that Kyoto Animation still has the resources to bring it like this.
Right. I think
when they do, because that is a studio still in recovery.
Right. Like, so. I think that's the other aspect of what makes City like a heartwarming show you want to support. Like, is like, again, despite everything we have like rambled about here about like maybe our particular feelings on City, I think City is a triumph. It is a triumph of Kyoto Animation's like
absolutely
ability to bounce back as a creative entity. Like this is such a celebration of their talents. Like, I am glad that they are still capable of doing this, because like I'm not going to watch their next show. Like I would almost bet money on it, like, but it's cool that they still have it. One last shout out I want to give is I saw in an interview. So, for context, the musical segment at the last episode is anime original. but
Right.
the original
Wait, you're telling me
creator-
there was no musical segment in the manga?
who knows, man? Who knows? Right? It could have been there.
Yeah.
But yes, Keiichi Arawi, the creator of the manga, is the one who I think suggested the idea of that being the last sequence of the anime.
Oh, okay.
And KyoAni was like, "That's awesome. Yeah, let's do that." And that informed even like their casting choices for like the
Okay.
VAs.
Oh, they want to get people who can sing.
Yes. So that's awesome. I love that. That's a great like.
I will say
commitment to the bit.
One note on that before you finish, G. Again, I was watching this dubbed.
Mm-hmm.
They dubbed everything, including some of the singing bits earlier, like when the guy was, the guy was singing with his animals and everything. They did not dub the final episode.
Wow.
Song.
That's a shame.
Which
I mean, I think
it was. I could kind of see why after you've said that, G, but it was pretty weird because especially like they do talk in between the singing. So like
back in English again, I assume.
no, they didn't change it. Like they just decided we're not dubbing the rest of this episode.
Oh, we're just not dubbing the wow.
Yeah, so once the music started, just all Japanese. Which was like,
that's disappointing.
70% of the episode.
Like,
yeah, I wonder if there's like something in like VA contracts about like singing. Like I know there's,
or maybe they just didn't have time to rewrite the whole thing. I don't know.
I mean,
it's probably also
shout outs to the musical episode of Space Dandy, which was entirely dubbed into English and was incredible.
See, that's the thing. The singing whatever part earlier. Yes, they totally rewrote that to rhyme and everything. It was great.
I bet it was just a time thing.
It might have been a time thing. I don't know, because that was like a whole episode. Basically, you'd have to rewrite.
I think it's also just the reality, right? Is like it's entirely possible that, like, I mean, look, being a good voice actor does not necessarily mean you're going to be a good singer, right? I think that's
right.
Yeah,
that's probably and I think especially in the dubbing market, like how many VAs are.
I think a lot of them
can pull double duty. It's probably not a large number.
At least pull off the Broadway voice, like the musical voice.
Yeah, I bet your standard voice actor is a better singer than the person off the street. But
oh sure, yeah,
you control your voice.
Essentially, have more control over their voice. So
yeah.
But yes, the dub market is not like Japan, where like to even be a voice actor, you basically have to be able to sing as well.
Yeah, if you can't sing your character's image song in the album, like what are we even doing?
Yeah. I'm sorry, G, if you had more to that point.
Oh no, that was it. I just thought that was a great like example of like how intertwined Arawi was with like KyoAni on the production of City.
They were.
That's always nice to hear when like the original creator is that involved in the process. It just makes you feel confident in the faithfulness of the adaptation. Not necessarily in the sense that it is exactly what was on the page, but to like the spirit of the work.
Absolutely.
For sure.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we talked about, and the one moment I think we're all going to remember in like 10 years from now is like the hospitality towers, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
and
yeah.
How in the manga that was just like a 2-page spread of like a giant map or something, right?
Yeah, like a Where's Waldo
how they chose to adapt that into the multi-screen thing and everything.
God, I can't even begin to imagine how much work that was.
Like that's like in all seriousness, that's a feather in the cap of that studio forever, basically. Like we'll pull that off.
When we're in season 125 of the GLORIO blog, we'll be like, "Hey guys, you remember fucking City? That episode where they had all the screens? Wasn't that cool?"
Jill, I don't remember what I ate for dinner 5 minutes ago.
Iroh's still not dead yet, despite being 80 years old. Anyway,
Iroh's just in the robot bed from Rojan Z.
Well, all right, are you guys getting a Gundam or Amazing Arcane?
God.
Right.
I want a Gundam Kane that's just Kaisilia's head with a laser beam coming out of it.
All right. Well, City was great. Despite what I was saying with the criticisms and everything, like it's still arguably my favorite show this season. It's either that or Call of the Night. And it like we said, it's certainly, any way you look at it, it's a triumph for Kyoto with Kyoto Animation and anime in general, at very least from a technical standpoint. So definitely still worth checking out, I think. Okay. that's it, guys.
Hell of a season.
Good job, anime.
Time for the next one.
20 or summer 2025.
Yeah. So we got some things going on next season. We mentioned Cinderella Grey, which I just got a notification on my phone. Hey, episode available. Go watch that. I did catch, teaser. I did catch the first episode of Sanda. That was pretty wild. Very funny to me that it's on Amazon Prime. All my shows are on Amazon Prime now. It's weird.
I mean, look, man. I mean, now that we're entering this new era of what was it? Crunchyroll cross Israel.
Yeah.
God.
Like y'all see that headline?
We need to.
We just can't have nice things.
Maybe it's a good thing. Maybe it's a good thing Amazon and Netflix are eating Crunchyroll's lunch.
If Amazon and Netflix are the ones with the moral high ground, then
we're in a bad place.
We're in a bad place. Yeah. But anyway, stay tuned, as I'm sure we will have discussions of new shows coming soon. So, if not by the time this episode actually gets out. All right. That'll do it. Short one. This might be the shortest one we've had in like 5 years, if we're being honest, but
there's only so many ways you can say, hey, this show was really good.
Yeah. We kind of ended a few other shows earlier too, like Takapi this season too, right? Like, so.
Right.
All right. Let's do our housekeeping then. Check us out at theglorioblog.com. You can follow us on Blue Sky at glorioblog. You can subscribe to the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, Podbean, Stitcher, and YouTube, where you can like, comment, subscribe, ring that notification bell, all those good things. It wouldn't be an episode of the Glorio Chat without some police vehicle driving by my house. If you guys
the anime police.
The anime police are here for me, so I got to wrap this up.
Yep. They're coming to arrest us for not being negative enough.
Yeah. Hashtag free gel and tell your friends. Tell your enemies. And we'll catch you next time.